welcome all of you. Welcome to our board meeting for May. We'd like you to please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I always worry that I block their view of the flag.
I don't think so.
You people aren't paying attention. All right, we're ready for item 3.03, the superintendent's comments, so I'm turning this over to you, Dr. Seifert.
Thank you, Dr. Towers. Welcome everyone to tonight's board meeting. We are glad you're with us in person or online. We're so glad to have you. It is the middle of May. Can you believe it? You can clap for that because that's awesome. We're almost there. We are excited, as Dr. Lewis likes to put, do we have the Fab Five tonight, Dr. Lewis? We have 5 stars. So we're excited to announce several important staff hirings that our Board of Education just approved in closed session. So congratulations to the following, and please stand when I talk about you so we can see who you are. First off, Casey Post. You can clap for her. Casey currently teaches 6th grade math and science at Jefferson and will now serve as our assistant principal at Jefferson Intermediate next year. We are thrilled to have Casey join our administrative team, and we know she will help move Jefferson forward in the future. Congratulations, Casey Post. So we have 2 hometown, and then we have 3 that are coming elsewhere. So the second hometown, Caitlin Cromian. Caitlin is currently an instructional coach at Hardin Middle School. She'll move into the K through 12 math and science curriculum coordinator for the district starting next year. Caitlin is ready to fulfill this role, and we are looking forward to seeing the great things that she does with our staff as we continue to grow our students even more. So Caitlin Cromian, everybody. Coming from Parkway, and before that Orchard Farm, our new AD at St. Charles West High School, Eric Schroer. And I can just tell you this, we are really excited to have such a well-experienced AD taking over the reins at St. Charles West. And I know we like the Pirates and the Warriors in here, but right now we say go Warriors, right? Welcome, Eric. We need a new assistant director of transportation, and we found Mr. Robert Anderson, everybody. And this is what's awesome. We are bringing people to this district, either they are moving up and having an opportunity, or they're coming from other districts with experience, which is awesome. And Robert comes from Francis Howell, where he had some educational transportation field experience there, and we say, welcome aboard. Thank you, Robert. And last but not least, Sherry Bertrand, everybody. Sherry will be our new assessment, data, and learning coordinator. That's the position you all approved last month. And Sherry has previously served in the same capacity in Riverview Gardens and the Wentzville School District. We are fortunate to have such an experienced learner and leader joining our C&I department team, and we are excited to have Sherry here. So congratulations to Sherry. So we say welcome, Casey, Caitlin, Eric, Robert, and Sherry. Welcome to the SCSD family.
Welcome all.
Yeah. We like to clap around here.
Yeah, we do. And I've already said, glad you're joining our family.
Exactly.
This is a family.
So how about the spring sports season, as we have an AD in the room? So we are transitioning from the regular season to the playoffs, so golf, girls soccer, baseball, track and field, you name it. We're busy finishing up the regular season. We're getting ready we've had some GAC championships and getting ready for some district, but the playoffs are getting ready to rev up next week. And as always, we say go Pirates and go Warriors. And St. Charles West just had a play, our musical, last weekend. Karen went. Matilda, did you love it?
Wonderful.
And you said what about the young lady who played?
She was perfect.
She was perfect.
My 2 granddaughters went, who've seen the movie about 10 times and loved it.
That's awesome. So we have worked hard to prepare for this meeting tonight, and we will have an important discussion and presentations on the following. Obviously, we have consent agendas to approve. We have policy changes, homeowner association board of education representative that we'll vote on. We are going to talk about the SCHS press box bid, and then district financial report. But before we get to that, as I said, it's middle of May, so that means that we are almost to the end of the school year, and this is what's been happening since we saw you last. We have had numerous of staff appreciation and awards. We love our staff, and I know we've been clapping a lot, but let's clap for our staff, please.
Yep, they make it happen.
Our staff is awesome. As you can tell, we've been doing a ton of interviewing. Joshua, you can clap, that's awesome. We love it. And guess what? We love our students, Joshua. We love our students. And no offense, Eric, especially the Pirates, right? We're all one family. Oh, he laughed. He likes it. I love that. We've been doing a ton of interviewing. We've had a success recognition night at Success Campus. That was awesome. Well, it was at St. Charles High, but that was awesome. We've had Lewis and Clark recognition night. We've had school improvement data meetings with our central office and building admin teams. We've had countless field trips. We've had the color run at Hardin Middle School. We've had the Jefferson Love Awards. That's just fantastic. St. Charles West, the Night of Excellence was fantastic. St. Charles High Evening with Stars is tonight. We're missing it, but we wish them all well at their event. We've had numerous award ceremonies and then just wonderful concerts. We had a great jazz fest last night, Max Scholars last night. It goes on and on. We're kind of on the circuit, aren't we? There's just so many great things, and those of you know me, I mean this. There's no better place than the city of St. Charles School District, and it starts with our students and our staff and our parents and our families and our supporters and our Board of Education. I just love what we do every day, and I want to encourage us all to keep going strong. Obviously, standardized testing is going on, and I want to leave with that. I can tell you, I feel like the level and the intensity and the intentionality of our standardized testing is at the highest level ever. And you'll love to hear that, Sherry, right? And our kids are getting it done, and that's awesome to see. And let's just complete the school year with a great finish. Our last day of school is Friday, May 26th. Probably one of the favorite days for a superintendent is graduation. They're both on the same day, which is June 3rd. We're looking forward to that. And then we wish everybody a great summer. So that's all I got.
That's a lot.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Item 3.04 is our board communication. Do we have any board We don't. Okay. Item 3.06 is audience comment.
All regular and special meetings of the board shall be open to the public. Since the board desires to be a good listener and be responsive to the community, persons desiring to address the board may do so during the time so allotted on the agenda and according to established procedures. During the audience portion of each board meeting, patrons are invited by the president to speak for or against any proposal on the tentative agenda or on any other school concern. The individual is asked to identify him or herself, limit comments to a few minutes, and avoid discussing personalities. The president reserves the right to limit the number of presentations and/or length of comments. At the discretion of the president, patrons may be recognized at other times during the board meeting. The board is very interested in audience comments. According to board policy, members cannot respond during the actual meeting. The board will listen to and research all audience comments. If necessary, additional follow-up will occur through district administrators.
Thank you. We have three cards this evening. Brendan, we'll start with you.
Good evening, Central Office staff and members of the Board of Education. My name is Brendan Kearns. I'm the president of the St. Charles Education Association, the exclusive bargaining organization for certified staff and nurses in the City of St. Charles School District. I'd like to begin by recognizing that this is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I'd like to thank all of our hardworking employees for their dedication to the education of our students. We'd also like to thank the Central Office staff for their positive conversations through the year. We're regularly in communication with you guys with concerns. Appreciate you guys hearing us out. Recently, we had a terrific and very positive conversation with Dr. Draper on some concerns, so thank you guys for that throughout the year. We have some people we'd like to recognize this month as well. Congratulations to Harris teacher Christine Scott for winning Outstanding Pre-K through 6th grade teacher. Also, congratulations to our SCEA scholarship recipients. Luke Bourgead, son of St. Charles West English teacher, or St. Charles West teacher Lisa Bourgead. Macy Jones, daughter of Jefferson teacher Kim Boyd. Molly Piper, daughter of Blackhurst teacher Amy Piper. Braden Miller, son of Hardin teacher Jen Miller. And Maya Southard, daughter of St. Charles High teacher Angie Southard. Congratulations on your upcoming graduation and best of luck in your future studies. Finally, we would like to thank our retirees for their dedication to our district and their hard work through a long career. So thank you to Dina Hayes, Mindy Gregory, Edgar Montenegro, Beth Stegall, Matthew Langer, Angela Altman, Kathy Burke, and Brian Bell. Finally, we would like to wish everyone a relaxing, enjoyable, and safe summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Brendan. Joshua Wilcott.
Yeah. All right. Good evening, board members. My name is Joshua Wilcott. I'm the father of a graduate and a current student, both in special education. I have heard a lot of numbers discussed in these meetings. So tonight, I wanted to share with you all some numbers that are applicable not only to our district, but my son, and the history that has impacted all of us in our educational system, and a creative solution to the issue. My son, Jacob, is joining me today as I'm a firm believer that part of teaching children is showing them by example. So tonight, I'm teaching him how to use his voice. 2023 is the year that Perez versus Sturgis was decided by the Supreme Court, a win for parents. $5,000 is the dollar amount of Jacob's first walker when he was in preschool. 1990 is the year that Americans with Disabilities, or ADA, was passed. 1975 is the year that IDEA was passed, birthing special education. $600 is the dollar amount of my son's first pair of shoes that was specialty built for his needs. 172 is the number of families that I have spoken to in our district that have a child in special education. 11 out of 26 is the number of standards the district has not met for the 2021 school year in special education. 15 is Jake's age in months when he had his first spinal surgery. 11 is the number of years the district has been annotated by DESE to have parental suppression since 2010. 8 is the number of years Roosevelt had in between when he contracted polio and became the President of the United States in a wheelchair. 2 is the number of years DESE recognized the district did not have parental suppression since 2010. 1 is the first line in the statute that recognizes what an IEP team consists of is the parent. 1 school team advised me when Jake was in preschool about resources that were available to help him be the best he can be. It changed my son's life. The equipment he uses today, the district doesn't pay for, but he uses every day. Last month, it was discussed in the board meeting about how our community is rich in resources. Apart from the DDRB, I didn't find any community-based resource links specifically for children with disabilities. Putting them on the special education portion of the website would assist educators to link families to community-based resources that the student may need both in school and at home. It could have a huge positive impact on a student's life, both in school and outside of the school. The incredible special education teachers all have guided me in finding appropriate community resources for my son. If those organizations are shared on the webpage, it'll help families in our community, both in school and their overall quality of life. My suggestion is we already have the resources available with amazing special education teachers that both of my sons have developed. If we bond together and find out what resources there are in those communities and share them on the special education page, it will allow educators to quickly point to our webpage and helping families get the resources that they need to fulfill the child's education. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joshua. Teresa Litzich.
Jacob, I want to apologize. I called you your dad's name. Sorry. Sorry about that.
Hi, my name is Teresa Linsnick, a mom of a 2022 St. Charles High grad and substitute para and playground monitor. I appreciate the board believing in asking the tough questions and believing in the primacy of truth to make our school district strong. That's why I am coming to warn us about the World Health Organization and the UN, who aim to implement comprehensive sexuality education curriculum in every nation's schools. Comprehensive sexuality education tells kids that sex is basically equal to a handshake. No long-term commitment involved, cheapening sex, confusing children, and hurting families. The fact checkers deny this curriculum is sexualizing children, but the Netherlands is already experiencing that exact thing. A mom of a kindergartner was shocked when she was told of the sex games of children masturbating each other in her child's kindergarten class. If you do not think this is happening, please look it up yourself at stopworldcontrol.com/children. That's stopworldcontrol.com/children. The reason I bring this up is to warn our school district before it's too late. We must not cave to the WHO or UN or Planned Parenthood, who is involved as well. The details of comprehensive sexuality education is disturbing. The World Health Organization and the UN are instructing education authorities worldwide to teach young children to masturbate, use pornography, learn different sex techniques, and more. The UN and WHO, together with Planned Parenthood, plan to get educators worldwide to implement comprehensive sexuality education by 2030. I agree, the above statement sounds too nefarious to believe, but there are facts and history, and as well as eyewitness accounts of the nefarious goals of these organizations to hurt our children. I do appreciate the best choice curriculum that we have here at St. Charles School District. I hope we still teach it. My daughter had a wonderful experience with it. Best Choice affirmed her as being so much more than a sexual being, that sex is set apart as something for within a life commitment relationship, and she felt empowered to make the best choices for herself. The most famous historical figure ever said, if anyone causes one of these little ones to stumble, it would be better for them if a large millstone were hung around their neck and they were thrown into the sea. I do not want us to be one of those who causes little ones to stumble. I humbly ask you to go to stopworldcontrol.com/children and look at the details of comprehensive sexuality education for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. This ends the audience comment portion, and at this point, we usually take a slight break and a pause so that those of you in the audience who have other commitments and better, more fun places to go, this is your chance to make your exit, and then we'll start again in about 5 minutes.
He's like, all right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Welcome again.
Yeah.
Everybody's waiting for me.
Yeah, we are.
So old. Sorry. Sorry.
Well, okay, we will continue. We are now ready for item 4.02. I'm sorry, 4.01. This is the approval of our consent agenda.
3.06.
Yeah, we might do that. Yeah, do I have a motion to amend or adopt the agenda?
I make a motion, we adopt the agenda.
Do I have a second? Brian? Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And remember, you have to put your hand up for the audience. All those opposed? All right, the agenda is adopted. Now we're ready for our consent agenda. For efficiency, the school board utilizes a consent agenda. Items placed on the consent agenda are routine in nature or are among the many decisions that the board has already determined are in the domain of the administration. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Do I have a second?
I second.
Ellen, all right. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, that passes.
item 6.01, these are our policy readings, and this is our first reading for policy changes that come to us every board meeting. There might be some on here that we might want to clarify or discuss a little bit. So do any of you have questions to start with, or do?
I have a question about the MOCAPs. One, it seems the only changes are our school district can no longer determine whether it's in the student's best interest. That is left up to the host and the families. So we have no control over whether or not students take the MOCAPs. I'm wondering if the student who elects MOCAPs doesn't graduate from high school. Is it on us? Do we get dinged?
No, so a couple of things. One, for students with IEPs, it is still an IEP team decision for
Okay.
MOCAP for students with
Okay.
IEPs. If a student is going the MOCAP route through a hosted provider, meaning it is hosted by another public school district in the state, then the students will become a student under that school district. So for the most, so we really partner with Launch right now, which is out of Springfield Public Schools. Now, those students will become Springfield Public School District students. So if they were to drop out, their test scores, all of that goes to Springfield Public Schools and not City of St. Charles School District.
Okay, there are some students in the Launch program under Mrs. Sanchez, right, at the Success Campus.
That's Mo Options, that's a little different.
Okay,
Mo
okay,
Options,
okay.
yeah, that's different, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, and,
Okay.
yeah, and Success is a little different, that's what Edmonton.
okay. I was confused.
Yeah, that's okay.
Thank you.
But there will be times maybe still where, tell me if I'm wrong, Earl, that if we have a student who is on a long-term suspension, you'll see me tell you all that we're going to look at an online program. We can still do that as well.
Because there are hosted programs, which are sponsored by districts within the state, and then there are non-hosted programs. If a parent chooses to go through a non-hosted program, then all of our protocols that we have put in place will remain in place, and we will have a say-so in whether or not those students go through those programs. They're just not as popular as the hosted programs.
There's still MOCAPs, but they're just not long.
It splits MOCAP into two parts. There's a hosted MOCAP, and then there's a non-hosted.
The host means the district has that program. And so, and this might be too much information, but we do have some students who have been on Launch this year and still play sports for us or activities as well. If they do that next year,
Yep.
they will not be able to play.
So,
They will not, right?
The law allows MISHA to decide, and MISHA has said that if a student is a full-time in a virtual hosted program, they are not eligible for MISHA sports. So that will be a big
That might
factor
change it for a
for.
couple families.
Any other, there were those policies about the virtual learning. So with any, and then we had policies about setting up a vehicle by which the community can place items on the agenda. Did any of you have questions on that?
The only question I had, now it's going to be an ad to state your address for audience comments?
No,
I thought I saw something in there that they had to say name and address.
no, so
I think on the card.
Oh, on the card, not
card,
out there,
yeah.
okay.
actually you mind if I say something? Or I'm just say a few things. I got some cliff notes on it because I think, Laura, you had a couple questions about. Yeah, just some cliff notes. But to answer that question, I saw two presentations, one at Massa, and then we had our legal team actually present during a roundtable with the St. Louis area superintendents. And they're actually, I think MSBA is saying the same thing. They actually don't want people, because of security reasons, to actually say their.
Agreed.
So they won't have
Right,
to.
agreed.
They won't have to say their address. But the Cliff Note, oh, go ahead, Ellen, did you want to?
Well, it's my understanding that, we have always allowed members of the public to add items to the agenda. Nobody has
Right.
requested that in my 3.5 years on the board. But now it's only residents. And I think, we should still allow public comments.
Right.
Because, we don't have to allow public comments. But,
Right.
Yeah,
But it did say that during the public comment portion, they aren't going to be saying their name or residence, but that
Their name.
if there were a lot of people wanting to, if we had a lot of public comments, that residents and students and staff, they would have first priority. And if we ran out of time, then those people who are not residents but did want to speak could then go through that process of putting something on the board agenda by contacting me or Dr. Seifert as the superintendent, and then the process of getting it on the agenda.
Just a couple clarifying, and just, because I think one thing I want to tell you all as well is there is a piece of getting community input on this as well, and so this serves as that, because we have a whole month to the second one, so that serves as that. So just so you know, why we're doing this is because there's a law, and there's a law that takes place July 1st, so we have this reading and then the next reading in June. And so it basically says before July 1st, 2023, each school district shall, after receiving community input, and our 2 readings constitute of that, implement a community engagement policy. So that's why you're seeing updates to BDDB1 and then policy BDDH1, and then there's a new policy on KC that just helps with that's kind of their just general comments. And to Ellen's point, yes, we've always had this pretty much already in place, so we are not getting, so the Cliff Notes would be this: we have to have the policy in place by July 1st, our 2 open board session readings constituted our community input with that. We're basically just formalizing our process is all we're doing. So we are gonna continue with comments, public comments, we're not gonna get rid of public comments, and then, I wanna make sure I say everything's right. So when I say the formalized process, typically when somebody has a concern, they bring it to me and bring it to you all, and then it comes to me, and then whoever the central office team member who is a direct supervisor gets involved, and hopefully we can solve it, right? And then that person can come in and talk to us. Well, after that, if it's not resolved, or they wanna talk about it some more, we basically have 20 business days then to get it solved. And we would try to do the best we can. If that person still then, after that process, so that's almost a month, that person still wants to put it on the agenda item, then they have 5 days to do it. It's kind of like we do. We have to turn everything in that Friday before the Thursday, and then we would have it on the agenda. There's a lot of rules that are listed that I won't, but a couple of them that stand, or at least one stands out, is you not necessarily have to vote on that agenda item. They're just able to speak during an agenda item on it. Just want to make sure. And the reason why you're seeing not a cleaned up, but a kind of a little bit more of a concise reading of it from our legal team is because MSBA, and you guys all saw the MSBA recommendations, it's just real bulky. There's a lot to it. And so our legal team, and they serve a lot of our school districts, they came up with this clean version of what it looks like, so for full compliance. So that's kind of hopefully that helps. That's kind of the version. In my opinion, it's just kind of formalizing the process that we already have in place.
So I'm sorry, not to interrupt, but to add on, I hope, that, as Jason said, really, everything that I was reading in these 3 policies, changes, are things that we have done. This just formalizes it a little bit more. One thing that I did notice, that it said, to place the item on the agenda, you need to do that within 5 business days. And as you know, Jason and I meet on the Thursday before the board meeting to finalize and create the agenda. So that's 5 board meetings. I mean, that's 5 business days. So that would give us time then to get that on the agenda. I'm just giving the little scenario that if someone called then on Wednesday, like yesterday, I'd just simply say, then, we will have to look at that for the next month's agenda.
But we also have 20 days,
To-
20
sure,
business days
well,
to
true.
have that meeting process and see
Right.
if we can work it out before it needs to become an
Before,
agenda
yeah,
item.
before it becomes an automatic, it doesn't go automatically on the agenda. And also, and Jason already said this, but I thought this was important. Items that are placed on the agenda are going to be there as a discussion items. They don't necessarily mean it's going to be something
Right.
that's a vote. And we can vote, though, as a board, to remove items from the agenda. So if there's an item on the agenda, I'm not sure if I have that correctly, but I do remember reading that we can, as a board, you can remove the item from the agenda.
And all three of those the policies are updated. They just have some really good, clear rules, and then also just cleaning up some of the language of so.
And some districts have taken away the public comment portion. They don't do that. Our district, though, we said, I don't know but we've been talking about this, that we want to keep that public comment portion, but we'll have to clean up that part that Heidi reads, because now the policy says that people speak to items on the agenda.
They're already listed. We have to clean that up, yep.
Because if they had a concern, then they would do that
I
process
think
of
that's
contacting.
already cleaned up in the
Okay,
language.
well, sorry, but,
No, I'm just
To
saying, I think it's
clarify.
already in there, so.
okay. So
Change that the audience comment portion would only apply to items that are
that agenda.
tentative agenda.
That's right.
Okay.
And
You
and
can't
so if
speak.
someone had,
Yeah.
if someone had something they wanted to speak to and it wasn't an item on the agenda, they would start that process of emailing me or Jason.
That's an
And then we
important
would,
point. Yeah.
I'd send it to them, and who's ever directly, responsible would meet with them, talk, and then if they still wanted to, then within 5 business days, ask to put it on the agenda. Then it would be on the agenda the next
The
month.
majority of the comments we get now are kind of just discussion comments or just wanting to say things. We're saying we're not gonna have that as audience comments anymore, and it's gotta be relevant to a specific agenda item.
Well, it specifically says provide public comments related to agenda items
Agenda items.
at
Okay.
the regular meetings.
Is that something that's legislated?
Yeah, is that a,
That was part of the,
is that a suggestion from our,
That's in
from,
the policy.
no, today?
I mean, when I click
Or-
on the public
Oh.
participation, it's at the very end when it talks about public comment. That first paragraph specifically says they provide public comments, under public comment, it has to be related to
Residents-
agenda items.
Oh.
May I ask something, though? Like, okay, I mean, like, Brendan just comes in to just, and that's not necessarily on the agenda.
agenda. So can we
How about-
amend the policy,
Yeah, I think that's really gonna limit, I
Yeah.
mean, we don't have many people to cover anyway, but limit what, somebody in the community might have heartfelt on their mind that they wanna, bring up to the school district. So, I don't know, I think that would kinda,
Because this is
Cut some-
first reading.
not in a good way,
This is
cut
the
that
first
out.
Yeah, agree.
But I'm wondering
They
if
notify you 5 days ahead of time.
then it could be an agenda item.
Could be added to.
We're gonna do agenda items to talk about,
Hold on, though. Just to clarify, they don't notify us 5 days, and we have, it starts with 20 business days.
Yeah.
They have I just want to make sure we can clarify that. When we talk about agenda items, they say they really want to talk to us, they come talk to us, and we have 20 business days to have that meeting to see if we can resolve. And most of the time, we do. We meet with people all the time. If after the 20 business days, they're not satisfied, or they still want an agenda, then they have to get it to us before the 5 days. So it's actually 25 business days.
But
Does that make
there's still
sense?
an opportunity.
But then the public comment piece is we're all talking about. It does say that it needs to be related to an agenda item, but that's up to you all, what you all want to do.
does that say it
so.
today, or is that in the proposed?
This is what we're
In
gonna
the
vote on.
proposed, not today, okay.
This is our first reading.
And yes, and for the proposed, thanks for that, I just wanna make sure that we're not saying
Right.
it already wasn't supposed to do
Oh,
it.
no.
So,
But in this, that's why, in this first reading, and Karen, you kind of said that this is still, however, the law started, they realized the public needs an opportunity to be able to put items on the agenda to be discussed. So if someone in the community does have a need or feels they want to speak, the first thing I would do would be contact me or contact, and let them start working through that 20-day process. And then if it's not, you know, if it's still something they want to talk about, then it goes on, then it would be on the agenda item.
So just moving the public comment into an agenda
Yes.
item
Well,
type.
we're kind of in the middle, I think we're kind of a middle district, because some districts aren't doing public
Yeah.
comments at all.
But I think that would
Discourage.
discourage
Yeah, I do too.
public comments in general, so we can change the proposed policy.
Sure.
And, you know, I would think that,
I think the only thing that it does in a positive light is it puts it on the agenda so we discuss. Right now, somebody makes a public comment, we
fair.
cannot talk back as a board.
That's
So I think this is allowing the board to actually engage more. It is a process to go through, but then there's engagement with the board
Makes
instead of
sense.
they give their 3-minute comment and then we listen, but we can't engage with the public comment.
right, but
But is there a category to where, oh, I'm sorry, where like, okay, say, like, somebody wants to come up and congratulate our teachers and this and this, I mean, even though that's not on our agenda. Does that make sense?
Right,
Because we get a lot
I
of that
think
here, and I
that
hate
it's
to
two
give that up.
separate, two separate
Yeah.
I think,
items.
you know, I think about our community coming up here, and I've been on the other side of that, and it takes a lot of courage for them to come up here. And it, you know, they might be more intimidated and say, well, I got to go talk to Dr. Seifert, not that Dr. Seifert's a scary guy or anything, but that's another step, you know, of more courage to do, and it's Dr. Seifert's time, it's their time, trying to meet up, and it's hard. It's hard if those are working folks and they want to come up and talk, and I don't know, I think we're really limiting that from our community if we suggested that.
Yeah, and it's not, so public comment isn't required, but we do it. So this policy itself and writing it in the proposed way is not driven by legislation. It is our kind of decision. So I like the idea and the thoughts of that this is a way to help with discussion, but to the point, yeah, a lot of the stuff isn't. It's just wanting to have a voice heard. So I think maybe there's some nuance or something that goes into it that says it's tied into an agenda item or something.
yeah.
And then maybe that gives the opportunity for it to go into an agenda item if the individual wants it to be a discussion, or if they just want to come up and have their voice heard without further stuff or having us respond back, they still have that opportunity. Relevant to the district or agenda item or something like that, maybe. I mean, there's probably something we could do that's a little more.
I think
Yeah.
there is, you know, the first readings, even though we kind of cleaned up
Yeah.
and made it more user-friendly, these, every month that almost every month, we have these policies revisions that come from MSBA legal team, because laws change, and so whatever that law, and I'm not a law person, but whatever the law was that was passed about allowing the public to put items on the agenda, so MSBA came up with this, so, you know,
But,
this is our first reading to.
well, I think it should be separate, that, you know, in the past, it was separate. And I think it was worded, the policy we have in force is worded, any items on the agenda or,
Of district concern.
or general concerns, or something like that.
I have it right here.
Okay.
As you guys have been talking, because I think that's important. So what we have right now, and it's in red, because they're crossing it out, says, oh, let me make sure, yeah. During the audience portion of each board meeting, patrons are invited by the president to speak for or against any proposal on the tentative agenda or any other school concern. So
Yeah.
that opens,
Yeah.
that opens
Yeah. I
up, what
think
you're
that-
talking about,
yeah.
that they can talk about anything. So, but they're crossing that out.
Yeah.
And so.
We can add that back
You,
in.
you can, and then what we're saying then the wording that we're saying now is, that doesn't mean we can go with it, but the board encourages residents to utilize the process of placing items on the agenda, but will also specifically designate time for district residents to provide public comments related to agenda items at regular meetings of the board. The following guidelines apply to the public portion, and it goes on to,
I think in that first sentence that you had, just add the "or" back in there and still encourage people to put it on the agenda. But that way you're covering situations where we just want to have public comments and talk for 3
and
minutes.
that's fine.
and
I
then-
certainly don't know if, my 2 cents, and you guys are gonna vote on it, my 2 cents would be, I think the public comments, the way we do it, in my opinion, works.
Yeah.
It gives people, I think, Brian, what you're saying, gives people a voice, it gives them 3 minutes, and we listen. I don't necessarily, at this point, I'm not afraid of getting things on the agenda, but sometimes we have enough things on the agenda.
Sure.
That there are times where we meet with people all the time.
Yeah.
And so we can, I don't wanna encourage, Joe, just throw it on the agenda, throw it on the agenda, doesn't mean they can't.
Yeah.
But if they have a chance to voice it in the comments.
Yeah.
They have an opportunity then to use that 20 business days to work with us on some things, and then they put it on the agenda. I think that's a good balance.
Yeah.
And so to say they can't speak because it's not on the agenda,
So then,
but that's my 2 cents.
well, then.
You're saying the same
before
thing as,
we-
all. You're saying the same thing as
Yeah, I'm
all,
just-
I think.
Yeah.
So, this is our first reading, so when we go next month to approve the policy,
Yeah.
it'll have to have that, the
Wording
sentence that was,
that we have right now.
yeah,
under
so we have to
audio.
make sure that.
Well, why
that
don't,
is still
if
in
you
there.
guys are okay with this, I think I know what you're all saying. We can, Donna and I can work on kind of doctoring up what we have now to help with the public comments basically being what we're having now, where they can speak. And then, and we'll kind of make sure that's in there. And then whatever they have for the agenda, putting on the agenda, that process is the process.
Yeah, you're just taking the 3 words that exist today for "or general," whatever, moving them up to the
'Cause then-
end of the previous
Right.
sentence and then starting with,
Right.
you're encouraged to add it to the
And here's the
agenda if you
deal,
want.
if you wanna do it, you can, I mean, it doesn't have to be me, you guys, so when you have a first reading like this.
Yeah.
You guys can, you
Yeah.
kinda doctor it up a little bit and send it down, or send it to Kelly, and we'll get it in there, so, and that's why you
Looks
have,
to me like it's only gonna be 3 or 4 words, don't send me.
no, but
Oh,
that's
you don't
why,
want me to do that? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no.
I don't
No, I
write
don't.
or anything. What you talking about?
but that's
How
why.
dare you?
That's why we have a 2-month process, cause you can have this opportunity.
Yeah.
And here's the deal, if we get if they, and I mean this, if there's somebody out there listening today, either here or there, and they have some input, we're gonna listen to them as well, because that's part of the statute,
Right. Yeah, we have this month to.
so.
This is actually expanding their opportunity.
Yeah,
and I'll
well,
tell you
it's
this,
going to,
there's-
kinda, yeah.
It's interesting when when new laws come into play, you start hearing all the other districts, because everybody does things differently, right? And a lot of them don't do public comments. They don't, and I think that's a good part of, I just think it's a good thing that we do, and I don't wanna get, and then some people are just going to the agenda now and not having public comments. I think there's a place for both,
Yep, I agree.
so.
Good, so,
I'll send you something as a suggestion of. for
That'd be
the
great.
piece. Yeah.
So,
okay.
he's
And
gonna
it's-
send
and
it
it's
to you,
moving
and then
3
we'll go
more.
from there, and then you let me know.
Right.
So right
So-
now, I'll let you send it to her. Okay.
Now,
Okay,
now, my question
Now,
though
are
is,
you, Ellen, Lori, Brian, I think you're on this too. Do we want to all, like, we can't do all of it, but there's got to be some way to share it before the next one, right, for input? Because it's not good, it's going to be a meeting if I send it to
No.
everybody.
no, you can't
Yeah,
have,
so I'll just send it to you.
Only
Yeah.
2.
You got it. Got it.
Well, and
Heard.
just,
Okay, I'll send it to you, and then we'll figure out the rest.
you send it to Donna.
Yes.
Donna can talk to Kelly, and then she can send it out, and then we'll have the conversation to kind of button it all up at the next one.
Who's on first?
but,
What is that?
just,
Who's on first?
yeah, who's on second? Just to be clear, making this change, and within sunshine law things, making this change that we'll give to Kelly, and she will send it to you, so you can see that as still part of the first reading, because next month we vote on it.
Yep.
And we don't want to have the change next month, and then we
Start
have
over.
to, so.
Yep, gotcha.
Is that correct? We're not, we're still in sunshine, and you can send that change to all of us.
And
Okay.
make the change on
The public comment.
Okay, which one is it?
not on the MSBA one, on the other one.
Which one is it, BDD?
BDD H1. But what I'm
H
saying
one,
though
got
is.
it. Yeah,
Don't-
not the
And the only
doctor.
reason I'm saying is the MSBA, not the MSBA one, because there's so much on there.
Yeah, the clean one.
Yeah.
I got you. Yep, I'm with you.
User-friendly one.
I'm with you.
And I think the important part is this, is people are gonna be able to come do their 3 minutes if they like to and say what they needed to say. And then we also have an opportunity, if they need to put something on the agenda, after we have a formalized process, to be able to work things out.
Yep. I
Because
think
we're not gonna just wait to, we gotta put that on there. like, there's a lot of stuff we can figure out before we
Sure.
get to a board.
Yeah, I think it's just more of.
Well, and it does
allowing-
say we can limit if there's more than
There's
three.
there's all kinds of rules.
Yeah, there's
to it.
all kinds of
Yeah.
rules about the
Yeah,
number.
I think it's fair. I think it's just, yeah, we don't want to limit the ability of folks coming and just wanting to
No,
speak
or at
in
least limit
public.
what they could comment about,
Yeah.
but we always have the ability to change the amount of time
Sure.
allotted, or the number
Sure.
of people, or have a representative speak
Yeah.
for, if it's a
Yeah.
big group,
Yeah.
that kind of.
We have somebody who's just got a minute or two of all the stuff that we heard tonight, having to try
So
to be able to
actually-
discuss things by going through, and adding that into the agenda to come up, like to the point, it's like, you really want to go,
Actually, not to make your job even easier, but all we have to do is where MSBA had crossed out that part about speak to items on the agenda or of district concern, just put that back in.
Mm-hmm. correct, that's
Send-
literally
so
what I'm
send-
talking about.
Well, send me an email that
That's
has
the three words,
in it.
yes, I know.
All right,
I am,
Okay, I think we,
we're together, I
all right.
understand.
Well, no, I've seen this email.
Easy, I'm not gonna do that, all
Okay.
right?
All right.
I'm gonna send you 3 words, not a novel, I apologize, goodness, I'm thorough.
Okay, item 6.02, this is the Lewis and Clark Newfoundland Place Homeowners Association. We always have a board representative on that association. And I forgot, was that, okay, well, Lloyd, do you want to keep doing it, or?
this will,
Oh, well,
this will be for the new subdivision.
yeah, they'll be busy, so.
There's only one house on it. We'll have 2 here soon.
All right, well, I need a motion, oh, wait, it says we have to have 2,
You and Lori.
hello.
I move that Lori and Donna are the homeowner association BOE representatives.
I
Okay, well, Lloyd, you're on. All right.
Forget.
All those in favor of Lori and Donna being the board representatives for the Lewis and Clark Newfoundland Place, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, that's okay. All right, that passes, thank you. Item 6.03, our St. Charles High School press box item, and this is, Jeremy, I'm going to turn this over to you.
All right, thank you so much. So we did have a recommendation that I had submitted earlier this week for this project. We talked about it for quite some time and the importance of this project and the timeliness of which it needs to be done. However, we did receive communication at 1:17 today. All the board received the communication, including DHA, our architectural firm, and myself. I think Dr. Draper was on there. So based on that communication, I think it's best at this point in time and the most prudent for us, for me, to recommend tabling this item. But obviously, that's a board decision.
It is. And we can move to table the item. But before we have that motion, because that would be one motion. But can we have a little brief discussion that this is a pretty time-sensitive construction, that this needs to be started right away.
Correct.
And I'm wondering if if we do table it, can we, and now I'm looking at you, if it clears up and you've gotten all these other interjections, whatever. I'm trying to
Details.
Clear it up, we may have to have a special board meeting.
Yeah.
And would that be okay with the board? We could have a very brief board meeting.
We could do that,
We
yes.
could do Zoom.
Are you okay with that? Yep.
Okay, okay, well, so Jeremy, then you're really recommending we table it for right
Yeah,
now? Do I have
you
a,
know, If this communication, if we had a time to really respond and give the board time to actually review the communication, which is, I think, is the most important piece, I wouldn't be doing that, but I don't want to put anyone in a delicate position on voting right now when we didn't receive that until today at 1:17.
you know, it doesn't sit well with me that we get a communication at 2 o'clock.
I have lots of thoughts.
So,
I move that we table the discussion to the future after we resolve the outstanding issue.
I second that.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So we will table it until, then we'll notify you of meeting time. Is that all right, Jeremy?
That would be perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. I can't believe, we are ready for item 7.01, our financial report.
All right, Chris, I'm going to shift on you a little bit. If you could open up April 22-23 budget adjustment, right there we go. There you go. So we are getting to that point now where our projections should be getting more and more accurate, obviously. So a couple things to note. What you see at the top of this under General Fund 1 at 24,618, 814, that's what we began with this calendar year, minus the restricted funds there, so 20,979,365. We have to have that, obviously, to have a balance to pay. Since we're not receiving significant revenue July through November, we have to have that balance primarily to pay for salaries and benefits, some of the most important aspects of our finances. So what we typically like to see, what's written in board language, is us to fall between 20 and 25%. So, Chris, if you were to scroll down and you see the new projected expenditures, that's what we're projecting to have spent by June 30th of this year, 2023, $84,442,000 and some change there. So that's the new expected expenditures. So with that, based on where we think we're going to land at $21,099,425, that would give us a fund balance of 24.99%. Obviously, that can shift higher. It can shift a little bit lower because these are still based on projections. We do know we have some federal and some state revenue that is lagging like we had last year, but we think that we are going to be falling at a decent rate. Revenues did trend higher this year, which helps. That helps significantly. So they were higher, and we anticipate that a bit next year, but we do have some of that money already allocated to salaries. Obviously, it will be benefits. As we've mentioned back in the fall, benefits, national average is about 7 to 8% increase every year. We've been trending about 5.5 to 6% as a district with us being self-funded. So that trend can fluctuate greatly with with a very, very delicate response on the district as far as how we adjust and how we react to that. So those are just things that we might want to, that we do consider in our insurance committee that will pick up again in August. We just had our last meeting this past May. We are not not this past May, this past April. Our trend right now in insurance is showing us it's spending 108%. We were projecting 105% from the previous year. So we do have a slightly higher percent. But as you guys know, with claims, it can just take a few good months to get us back on our projection, or one good month, to be quite honest with you. So all things considered, I'm very pleased with where we're sitting right now, and we'll use this information, our actual information, we're using it currently, plus our 20-year trends that we have in expenditures to plan for our budget report that will be sent to you guys to be looked at and hopefully approved in the June board meeting.
Any questions or comments on the financial report? Do I have a motion to approve the financial report?
I move we approve the financial report.
Do I have a second? Okay, Brian and Daniel, thank you. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The financial report has been approved, and we are now ready for our adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
And Loy seconded. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. It's still daylight out, and we're adjourned.